Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For roll call, Member Bradshaw's here, Mr. Dywert is absent. The agenda's on the table. Do we have any additions to be made to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll go next to the reading of minutes and approval. We have the regular Board of Public Works and Safety meeting from November 21st.
I move to accept those minutes.
I'll second. Motion passes. And then we should have minutes from December 1st, 2016 work session.
I move that we accept those minutes.
I don't have those with me. I have the November 17th.
Wait, November 17th? Oh, okay.
This is December 1st, right?
Yeah, I think we should have approved the 17th at the last meeting. I seconded the motion to approve the minutes for the December 1st, so that motion carries. We'll move next to reading of claims and approval. Any questions regarding the claims?
I move that we accept the claims.
We have a motion, I'll second that motion. The motion carries.
And I'm going to throw you a curveball though. Those claims are fine to be approved. On the docket, there's another $417,829.85 worth of claims. Those are claims that we finally today determined that our structure that I set up for the Community Crossroads grant. So I am asking you to approve those claims to Milestone. We'll write the checks for them and they will appear on your next docket as we've done before.
So this is for alleys and the half streets?
This is actually, yes, this is East Main, the first section that was done. It's actually segment 3, but we're calling it segment 1. And then our downtown asphalt and curb work.
East Main Street, we're gonna pay for it all right now, but we're gonna get reimbursed half of that cost from the state for the construction. Same with the half streets that we did. East Main Street, we're paying out of the relinquishment that we moved to rainy day. The half streets we're paying out of the SEA 67, the money that we received from the state in excess this year as our half of the match for the grant.
We need a motion to approve what you're asking for, Leanne.
I need a motion that allows me to do it and then place it on your next docket. It will show as an expense on your next docket.
I move we approve that 417,000, whatever.
Okay.
We have a motion, I'll second that motion to approve the spending of just over $417,000 for the construction on the first phase of East Main Street and for the half streets done downtown. That motion carries. Anything?
Have we paid all of Main Street that they've done so far? Have we paid all the
That's
alleys
it. That will
and the
be
half
it.
streets?
We haven't paid for the alleys yet. So half streets, our payment's done with that. That's everything that we paid them. Right. East Main Street, that's all the construction. We still have engineering on East Main that we haven't paid.
Engineering, no inspections, just engineering.
Right, for that first phase. Alleys, we still have to pay that. That's a 50-50 match from the state. Hopefully we'll get our reimbursement this month from NDOT. And then next year for community crossings, we've got Riley Road and Armory Road on the docket. That was part of that community crossings grant.
Was there 3 things on that grant?
There was 5.
5 things.
East Main Street, the alleys, the half streets, Riley Road, Armory Road.
All right.
All right. We'll move next to department head updates. That's all that stuff under there.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for our department heads? You want a quick rundown from them, or? You have to look deeper in there. No, that's the council, isn't it?
I,
Do that one here,
it's deeper. So the one from Craig.
And most of your department head reports are probably down with your council stuff.
That should be our
Their work session.
Getting closer.
Very good. Okay.
There's Chief's report. I think he's downstairs working right now.
That's good.
He's got someone in there right now.
Okay. Does the sheriff do these? Just,
No, I believe that's because we're on the same RMS system, so all the entries are made into the same system. I think the primary,
does this include all or just the Delphi?
this includes just Delphi, and it could be ones where Delphi officers assisted.
They do their own.
Yes, sir. And they can break it down by county, Florida, Camden, Delphi. That should be,
This is.
that's the fire territory board minutes.
That's not, that's not. Community development, that's for the, okay.
That's Jake's.
I had a question for Craig. On the water production, is it Saturday the day that's slow or lower? I thought we said Sunday's the day we tried to catch up with.
Sunday's the slow day, the slowest day. The numbers are usually a day behind, because we
I got
read it
I got it.
Monday. That'd be
Because it's
for
always the
Sunday.
Saturday that's low, or it shows on here. But it's Sunday the day you're catching up because you don't have Packers to.
Correct.
What makes a difference of what Packers does in water? I mean,
Depends on if they kill. If they run a
Sunday's usually
Kill.
used for a cleanup day.
but there's other days that's different. Why is it different? I mean, you said some days they don't kill?
well, weekends, right now, they probably are. They're probably running Saturdays because of the holidays. There'll be times of the year that they won't have a, I guess they call it a kill, and they don't do that on Saturdays all the way through the year.
Okay, I got no issues.
No questions for the department heads. We'll move next to unfinished business. Ms. Walker, you've got Gateway Trail Phase 2, recommendation for acceptance document.
Yeah, I can go ahead and bring you back copies after, either with your signatures on it or when I get the signatures back from NDOT. It's basically saying that the punch list was completed, all items were addressed, there's nothing left unresolved as a part of the Gateway Trail project, and it's recommending to NDOT to accept it.
Superintendent Lyons, all punch list items have been addressed.
That I'm aware of, correct.
I can come in and get it from you at a different point.
You just need a motion for
Um,
approval of the NDOT report of contract final inspection and recommendation for
yeah,
acceptance.
2 city signatures for that.
I move that we accept the NDOT recommendation, final contract, final inspection, and recommendations for acceptance.
I will second that motion. You can go ahead and make a signature. Bring back copies or anything in and out.
Do you want to wait until I get NDOT's signature from the district construction engineer or before that?
But
Okay.
next item, Superintendent Van Siegel, you know when they can bring the vac truck in for a
No,
demonstration?
I don't.
Okay.
I will get a hold of everybody. I'm not sure if it's gonna be this week or next week. Haven't heard from him for about a week. As soon as I hear something, I'll get a hold of you guys and I'll call him tomorrow, make sure we get a day's notice, so if you have anything.
We have
Going
a
on.
project or something we can,
Gosh, I don't know. Craig might have, want a hydro.
Sure, we can always find something.
Yeah, I mean, we'll
We
find
good.
something to dig a hole with, yeah.
let's say it's gonna work and you need it.
Well, I mean, that's, we've seen it, you know, the mayor, you might have seen a hydro dig, but Dick, you're probably not familiar with it. Well, you remember,
Yeah, I saw
a
him
couple
do it, but
years
I
ago
wanna
in
know
front
if
of-
that truck is gonna do,
yeah,
I wanna see it work.
right, no, that's fine. I'll call him tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Van Siegel. We'll go next to new business, city insurance awarding. Board member Dowers prepared us with a memorandum here. He reached out to 4 insurance agencies to quote on the city's property casualty and workers' compensation insurance. Our contract with RME expires at the end of this year. He indicates that we've been with RME since 2002, he believes. We haven't shopped it for a couple of years, so we took this opportunity to see if we can get a better plan at a lower price. There's a lot in here, and I don't know how much explanation I need. I can get you a copy of this.
From reading through this, he asked 4 agencies to bid, but only 3 bid, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Was there a reason given why the other one didn't?
He said that they couldn't find a price that was competitive, I believe. From that Ford company, the Mitchell agency.
Right. We need to do this now.
It would be best to award it today. There's still a lot of paperwork that they'd have to draft out before the beginning of the year, so Board Member Dyward's recommendation is that we award today. In this, he noted that both Johnson
Williamson.
Williamson and NBAH have good track records. Both have benefits.
The difference between MBH and Johnson was some frills. It's very difficult, I've done this for a long time, to get them to quote apples to apples, because they, well, I'll throw in this, or I'll take out that, or I'll do that. So it makes it difficult to evaluate that, but I think Sam's done a good job of kind of listing the differences. And the differences are not monumental, but they're hundreds of dollars probably, and some of them have to do with the limits, your insurance limits or your deductible. And it's very hard to evaluate what's a deductible worth. If you don't use it, worth nothing. If you use it several times, it's worth a lot. But I guess I would agree with Sam is that between Johnson Williamson, which is a Crawfordsville agency, and MBAH, which is a Lafayette agency, I think on value in terms of dollars and cents, that MBAH probably gave us the best quote.
Now, Leanne, you want to provide your 2 cents in with this as
Well,
well?
first of all, I'm gonna correct this, Chris Johnson never ever mowed my grass, so I don't know where that came from, but,
We never showed up?
yeah, evidently. What I'm gonna tell you is, I understand Sam was doing this, but I also know that any insurance company knows that they have to work with the clerk's office. I will tell you that Bob Reeve was in my office and on the phone lots, getting his code together. Chris Johnson made 2 trips up here to look at our books, look at our records, and verify what he was bidding on was correct. I will also tell you that Chris Johnson had Montgomery County insured. And in our past with RME, anytime we put a new pickup, police car, anything on, we got an endorsement and then we paid additional funds. With the Johnson Agency, it does not work that way. The other thing that happened at Montgomery County, they had a large fire, lost the whole building, lost their whole fleet. They lost everything. But in the process of losing everything, they had a vehicle that had not been endorsed, had not been reported to the insurance company. The insurance company that they were dealing with went ahead and paid for that vehicle completely. And they paid no deductible because it was a catastrophic loss. So I think sometimes you have to look at dollar signs, but you have to also look at who's taking care of you too. So those things need to be considered as well.
And you haven't heard from MBAH? They haven't?
I've had no contact from them whatsoever.
Where
Now,
would
I
they have got their
understand.
information?
I understand at the same time, MBAH was working directly with Sam. But
Oh, okay.
I am telling you that every one of those insurance companies contacted knows they have to work with the clerk's office. So if nothing else, I would have thought I would have got an introduction call or.
What do you think? I'm really not sure. I've read through this.
I think they
couple
really
times.
were very close. I mean, I couldn't tell, and I didn't know about the service that Leanne had talked about. I know MBAH is a very old agency. They've been around a lot. I've never used them, but they do an awful lot of business in the area. And say, I didn't know about Johnson Williamson. So to me, it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, the difference in the dollars,
Well, actually, Johnson Williamson's less expensive by a little under, between $500 and $600. MBAH has lower property deductibles, cover bridges and walkways, lower auto physical damage deductibles, wastewater pollution coverage. They have a $17 million earthquake coverage as opposed to $10 million. And it says that Mr. Dywart's memorandum says they have a wider scope of package and ancillary charges. It would appear that NBAH has the most value effective proposal. But we also recognize that Clerk Treasurer Aldrich will be working with the agent more frequently.
we need to keep her happy. I don't want her upset. She writes our check, you know.
That's
She-
it, right.
We're gonna take care of her. Well, you have, at a time like this, little things make a lot of difference. I mean, I'm very willing to support Leanne's idea on this because she feels comfortable with Chris Johnson, who didn't mow her grass. He's probably gonna have to now, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know,
I talked to Chief Starrett, also gave a good recommendation for Chris Johnson as well. I believe they do the fire department's
They
insurance.
do our fire department.
I move we accept the Johnson Williamson proposal.
I will second that. If you're fine leaving your motion with that, I think we still need to discuss with the agent some other considerations, such as increasing the umbrella liability, considering cybersecurity policy, and other items that Mr. Dywert has identified. So we have a motion and a second to approve Johnson Williamson as the agent for the city of Delphi's insurance. Is there any discussion on the matter? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll inform Mr. Dywert at the conclusion of this meeting. The last item we have on the agenda is the 2017 holiday calendar. Got it right here. It looks really bad, not in color. We just got a color copy too. That's my fault. He printed me one out in color. It's nice. It identifies New Year's Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. What's November 10th?
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
Oh, yeah. So that's the 11th, but it's fine. Okay. Marine Corps birthday, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. The only question was Christmas Eve falls on a Sunday, Christmas falls on a Monday. Superintendent Lyons put those two holidays on the Monday and Tuesday, which I think is probably the best option to get a day to recover from Christmas.
What's
Yellow's the special weeks when trash gets picked up on Wednesday. Let me see.
So,
I think next year we'll talk to the council about identifying some federal holidays that we don't have in our ordinance, listed as holidays.
that's an ordinance to change the official holidays.
There's an ordinance that sets the official holidays of the city of Delphi.
So you have 9 paid holidays.
No, there should be 10.
There's 10 in
And that's set by the personnel policy for which ones we get off. And then I use the federal guidelines for which days those, if the holiday falls on a Monday, then if it falls on a Friday, it's observed. I follow the federal guidelines.
So do we need to approve this? Is that the idea
there. I'll
here?
just take a motion to accept it.
I move that we accept the 217 service and holiday calendar.
I will second that motion. We have a motion and a second to accept 2017 service and holiday calendar. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's the last item I have on the agenda for today. Mr. Bradshaw, do you have any comments or requests?
No, I watching Front Street, it looks very nice, and Aaron says they've got a few more things, some railings to put up, but it really looks very nice. It's something that has been needed for a long, long time. I hate to lose the trees, but my other question was, are they gonna, the house next to the alley, which would be east of the alley, are they gonna finish that up to the porch steps, or is that the owner's responsibility?
That is the owner's responsibility. I've talked to the homeowner, he's aware of it from the get-go.
So they're as far as they're gonna go with the steps?
Correct, we laid off there, we didn't tie into it because he has to alter his steps, because there was originally a wooden porch on there. So he's got some work to do, so we stayed at the right of way, knowing full well that he had work to do, as did he. So he's aware of it, so.
Did you get the alley situation over on Main Street? The water running down the alley, did you get that, they get that squared around?
Calico Plus one?
Like
Yeah.
Calico, Milestone should be coming in tomorrow. They're gonna bring a planer in to try to eliminate some of these areas that are holding to get the water to drain. We're getting late into the season. Their asphalt crews are extremely busy. I doubt that they make it back to do any actual asphalt, but they're gonna try to make a remedy so that in the interim, the water will drain. And they should have poured a concrete cap in that alley also today too, to help with that particular situation, so.
I think the question you asked about whether, is it when that water runs out of the alley and it hits the pavers, it kind of takes that immediate left or heads towards the west.
Oh, that, I don't know, that's a question for HWC, they took that under advisement and I haven't heard any more. That's actually a design issue, or a design concern. So whether or not they address that, I haven't heard back from them, so.
They'll look good. Alex look good.
Any other comments?
No. Okay.
All right. I'd like to thank the Lions Club, Street Department, Water Department, Police Department for a fantastic parade. The weather held off one day long enough to have a pretty good event, pretty good turnout. Got to see the new fire truck. So it was a good time. So I'd like to thank the Lions Club and the department heads for your help on the parade. We'll go next to clerk treasurer comments, requests.
I'm still writing, no. No, don't have it.
One other thing. It's very nice to work in a community where you have cooperation from people, where you don't have people throwing up hurdles in your way. It's really nice to do that. And just speaking for the Lions Club over the years, we've always had wonderful cooperation from Aaron, from everybody in the city, from the police. And boy, it makes projects so much easier to do when you know that you're gonna get support and that you're gonna be able to do things without having to have drama. Because the drama just ruins a lot of things, and we don't have very much of that. So I appreciate that, and I want city employees, particularly Aaron's group, to know that it's wonderful to work with you.
Move next to public comment.
Most people got nothing to say.
If there's nothing else, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.